All right, so yesterday we introduced the concept of the cerebral cortex. Just kind of a recap of what we went over. We said that the cortex is going to be that surface layer on top of the brain, sort of like your brain's thinking cap or the crown, the thinking crown that sits on top of the entire brain. And this is the most evolved part of your brain. We got through the structure. We said that it's wrinkled, so we can fit more surface area in a smaller amount of space inside our skull. And then we started in on the four lobes. We went over the frontal lobes, in particular, what they did for us, the functions that they served within our body. And what we're going to start with today is we're going to talk about a very specific portion of the frontal lobes that's located right here at the very back of the frontal lobes. So if we zoom in on the back portion of the frontal lobes, you can see highlighted here in red, and I'm pointing at it with my cursor, we have a strip of brain that runs from ear to ear, known as the motor cortex. The motor cortex is in charge of controlling all voluntary movement within our body, and the way that it works is different parts of the motor cortex send out motor neurons to different parts of the body. So there's one specific location on the motor cortex which is going to send information directly to the knee and tell your knee to move. There's another part of the motor cortex which is going to send information to your ankle and tell your ankle to move. So if you look at this kind of funny diagram here with all of the different parts of the body drawn in sort of either larger sizes than they are or smaller sizes than they are, we can see how the motor cortex works. Every part of the body is represented on the motor cortex, or every part of the body that we can move, but the amount of space that part of the body is given depends on how much we need to be able to move it. You think of something like your face. We have very expressive faces. We have to be able to contort our faces in a lot of different ways to express different emotions, to speak. So if you can look here, you can see that the face takes up a large amount of space on your cortex, whereas something like the arm, well, you can only really bend your arm. It doesn't do all that much, so it doesn't need that much cortical space. That is the idea being represented by this kind of goofy looking guy right here. Again, he has exaggerated features in some areas because those are the areas that are given more room on the cortex because they need more room, because they need more flexibility. We have greater dexterity in those parts of our body. So the more cortical space it takes up on the motor cortex, the greater amount of dexterity that part of the body has for us. Okay,